Alright, Ms. Godsey, we're here today to do our post observation, and based on the lesson I observed the other day, which was selected verbatim transcription, I wrote down pretty much everything that you said over the course of that time period. So we get lengthy. First off, let me say, great job, very organized. I like the lesson. Matter of fact, you said on the rubric there. I love how you differentiate instruction from, kind of higher tier to lower tier, and as well as pretty much putting in perspective for those AP students, getting them involved, because that's the biggest thing with it, and you did a good job of that. So I'll start by that. And going through it, I told you it would look weird the first time when we had a pre-conference, how your transcription would look. So I kind of broke it up into the three parts based on your lesson plan and kind of the worksheet and things like that. So, your introduction, what is the 14th Amendment? Obviously, that's something that you learned at 10th grade, and then coming back to it. And then you'll see the next question that you asked there is, what is it? What is the 14th Amendment? So from that, obviously you didn't get the answer you wanted, but looking, I guess, as we kind of, as the things you've done, maybe could have redressed that question in more detail or something like that. So, it was back to back over two different questions, because you didn't get the answer, I guess, you wanted. I don't know. What did you think? Did you think that they would have a good understanding of that going in, or?
Yeah, because we've had an amendments quiz at this point. We've talked about it before.
Yeah. And it was 4th block, so naturally over the course of the day, sometimes students are like, they're drained mentally. And then going through there, the next question you asked was, does anyone want to share? Now that had to do with what you had them write down on the paper. Of course, you had a couple of students speak up, and when you did, you followed up with the question, why did you choose that? And notice that comment kind of, why did you, obviously didn't get answered, or you weren't comfortable with just why did you, so you went back and reworded. And you did that a couple of times, and then looking verbatim wise, we talked about the rewording kind of being a negative when it comes to questioning, because you're trying to gather your thoughts and things like that. Now, personally, to me, you can sit there and say it's a negative if you want to, but at least you're trying to reword to get it right. And a lot of times, some would argue that it shows that maybe you're not prepared. Some would argue saying, well, no, you just want to get it right. No, I think you were definitely trying to get it right. So, the next you came in and you had the students draw what they felt like. You said, Ben, what did you draw? And you said, why? And then why right after that. So it looks weird on paper when you write it out, but so at that point in time, the student probably not giving you the answer that he wanted, based on just something that maybe as a suggestion you could have taken, what did you draw? Why? Can you give us more detail? Something like that versus why as a repetitive question. And again, that's you. I great lesson all the way around. Something that I guess if you take the suggestions for improvement that I've got on your rubric here, something that could be looking at, redirect the question to other students. So in that case, Ben, what do you think? What would, if you were to draw that, Sam, why would you have done that? So something you could have looked at there, and then obviously the repeating and rewording. So and then the next question, Reagan, what did you draw? From there, you went on to explain the worksheet. I like the worksheet because it's simple, and it's not something that wastes time. It's simple, straight to the point. You assign the court case, and you let them go from there. Some of the groups, I listened to the first group, I thought that, they were pretty good. The last group, it kind of faded a little bit, and the rhyme or reason as to how you organize the group and let them kind of get involved. So that happens with group work at times. Obviously, some groups are going to outperform others. When it came to kind of the culminating activity after they kind of got together and did the worksheet, went up on the board and all that, and we went back, and this is where you started speaking again. So first one was, which one of these had the biggest impact? Which one of these had the biggest impact, and 2 reasons why? Which one of these had the biggest impact on increasing civil rights, and 2 reasons why? So that's a complete example of a reword, because you said it the first time, and then, I guess that little inner voice in your mind maybe going through there and something.
Right.
So, straight to the point, and we talked, pre-conference, maybe planning out the questions to ask or having a note card to refer to.
Mhm.
Now I will say this: you did a great job giving the students time to answer, and like even if you didn't get an answer, you held off, you gave them time to respond versus just jumping and letting them know that you're going to re-ask that question. So the rewording is not so much or repeating the same question over. It's just you're trying to reword to get your thoughts together. So just would be a tip to look at. You got next question you ask. Okay, Shelly, what did you put? And I think it was at this time, maybe you realized you hadn't given them enough time to answer, or maybe they were not using their time wisely. So you asked the question, do y'all need more time? Who's finished? And again, I brought it to y'all because I'm the number one guilty person when I said y'all.
Yeah.
But do y'all need more time? Who's finished? So possibly, ask around, who's finished, versus do y'all need more time? Who's finished? So just, in perspective, kind of for organization purposes. Okay, Orlando, what did you put? Next question. Okay, Shelly, are you finished now? What I like about that, Ms. Ghazi, is the fact that you're calling on students by name. So therefore, even if they're non-attentive, man, they hear their name, they're gonna perk up. So it's keeping kids on task. A lot of times, vague questions just get asked, and usually when vague questions get asked, little Johnny or little Susie over here are gonna be the ones that answer the question all the time. But when you're specifically calling on a student, that's something. Being a first-year teacher, that's very, very hard to find in a first-year teacher. So take pride in that and always use it because you can keep people involved that way. The next question is, who does it protect from discrimination? And I know that was kind of a feed off on one of the Voting Rights Act, and that's my fault on the transcription for not writing down what the student had written at that point. So the specificity is probably there, and that's probably my error not catching it. Because the students seemed to know what you were talking about at that point, and I was too busy trying to write, which is like we talked about problems with this type of observation. Again, Ben, what did you put? Southern dialect, you put maybe vernacular vocabulary a little bit different there, but nothing big. Dental AP students, obviously, the more you can increase, use the big words, they might be better off. The next question, who else put the Civil Rights Act of 1964? So then you kind of redirected that question amongst yourself. Did anyone put Brown versus Board? Why did you put Brown versus Board? When you saw the hand raised, you asked that. After you would have gone, that was all like follow-up question right there. So possibly at that point in time, who else put the Civil Rights Act? And then, okay, we've got this many with Civil Rights Act. Did anyone put Brown versus Board? Now we've got this many. So why did we put here? Why did we put there? Could have been a transition. It could have been a compare and contrast quickly on that. Just a little minute thing I saw. Next question: do y'all have any other reasons? I guess that kind of followed up number 8 there. And then finally, right there, as far as the culminating activity. What did this do for the civil rights movement? What did it mean moving forward? Individually, you could have asked something, maybe to somebody, I don't know, but that's a great higher order question because that's what you got to look at in AP. So, perfect question, the only thing there, and again, it can be as nitpicky as you want to be. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But those are the higher order questions. And I thought you did a good job. A lot of the questions were higher order thinking, and so the cognitive levels. Obviously, in AP we discussed or things like that. So, and finally, the last question you asked one day: do y'all have any questions about anything? And of course, naturally, fourth period you're not going to get a lot of questions, but some days you may, some days not. But I like the fact of that. Do you have any questions about anything that students can get on that personal level with? So, with me saying what I've had to say, what do you feel like? I guess as far as looking at this and kind of verbatim, what are your thoughts?
I didn't realize that I repeat my questions that much, but I do thinking about it now. I think it's when it comes out, I'm just like, oh, maybe I should say that differently. So then I just repeat it again, which I can understand how that could be confusing for the students when I say it one way and then change it the next time.
Yeah, hey, I mean, it's something to learn from. That's why, we do this is the same reason all of us as teachers look at it and try to evaluate ourselves and see where we come from, so to speak. So, and again, this is just on this rubric here, just my assessment of it. And you see the biggest on a scale of 1 to 5 would be the redirected question part, would be the part that probably I would say was the weak point.
Okay.
You didn't repeat students' answers, so that's not applicable. Answered on questions, you know, I've got a 3 on a scale of 1 to 5 for 2, 3, and 4 on the negative behaviors on this rubric. The repeats on questions could have gone down a little bit. Ask multiple questions because, you know, gauging that. You ask several questions, but the multiple questions just came in back to back to back, but they weren't all the time. They were just on those specific instances where it was just there. So, you know, I mean, I think, you know, all in all, everything was good. Praising student responses, I thought you did a good job. Sometimes you say good, really good. And as far as reacting negatively to student response, you never reacted negatively whatsoever. So, you know, that's very good in itself. Again, we talked about your pause. You pause instead of, because when I do it, I'll go, and then I have to catch myself and slow myself down. The follow-up questions to the initial response is good. And I got a 4 on higher order cognitive question. You might could have gone a little bit more in detail on some other things, but again, it's never going to be anything exactly, you know, your perception versus my perception. So that's when we have to work together on it and try to see. So, but all in all, very good. And again, you know, planned out. And I know the lesson plan's rather lengthy, and I know how they get kind of old, but. You know, you can definitely walk in your classroom and see that there's learning going on, and I enjoyed that. So, you know, keep doing what you're doing, and you know, the future's going to be bright for you.
Thank you.
You got any other questions?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I very much appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you in the future.
All right. Thank you.